Hello, everyone, and welcome to the interview segment on our channel, The Power of Excel. Today, we have the honor and privilege of having with us Mr. Bill Jelen, a renowned Microsoft Excel expert, author, and speaker, also known as Mr. Excel. He has written numerous books on Excel and is known for his expertise in helping people master the intricacies of the software. Bill is highly regarded for his contributions to Excel education and his ability to simplify complex concepts for users at all levels. He is an Excel MVP, that is the most valuable professional, a title awarded by Microsoft Exceptional Independent Community Leaders who share their expertise, real world skills, and passion for technology. Bill's Mr. Excel brand extends beyond his books, and he is also a creator of the popular MrExcel.com website. On this platform, he provides a wealth of Excel tips, tutorials, and a forum for users to seek help and advice. So, welcome to my YouTube channel, Bill, and thank you so much for accepting the invite at such a short notice. Please tell us something more about yourself on a personal front and what attracted you towards Microsoft Excel.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So I was working in an accounting and finance role for a company that made computers. And as a financial analyst, I was responsible for running a variety of reports. And this was back in, let's say, 1989,
Okay.
1990, somewhere in there.
Uh-huh.
And the company bought what they called a fourth generation reporting language tool that was
All
supposed
right.
to be able to run reports for the VP of finance, but it didn't work. So I was the guy who was supposed to make it work, and I just said, no, it's not going to create the reports you need. And they're like, oh, we paid a lot of money for this. Go figure out how to make it work. And the way I
All right.
figured out how to make it work was
Okay.
to take the data,
Uh,
use the export to Excel button, or actually it was Lotus 123 at that time, and then sitting
that
in a
that was way back in which year?
1989,
1989.
19,
All right. All right.
yeah, right. So it was just taking raw data from the mainframe computer and learning how to use a spreadsheet really well to create these reports. So
All right. All right.
yeah.
All right. Nice. 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 So I got to know yesterday itself. I think you have completed 25 years at my MrExcel.com. So heartiest congratulations on the same. And saw lot of this pouring in LinkedIn. So please tell us something more about this website and what motivated you to create this website 25 years ago, when very few people knew about Excel, what Excel is all about, and it must have been one of the few resources available to guide people on how to use Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, it was very, very early in the days of the web. So my last story should have been 1988, 1988. It was 10 years after that. So I've been using a
Okay.
spreadsheet for 10 years. I
Okay.
I was the guy at my company who knew a lot about Excel. If people had an Excel question, they came to
Okay.
me,
Okay.
and I started the website with the idea of publishing one new
Mm.
article a week.
All right.
Uh, and eventually I would have enough content for a book, maybe someday. Again, it was so early. One of the search engines picked us up, and we were in the top 10 results if you search for
Wow.
Excel. So it just
Wow.
started to grow.
So that was in which year when you started
That
getting
it,
results?
it was November of 1998 is when
November
actually
1980.
yesterday, November 21st of 1998 is when I posted the first article, and then one article a week
Okay.
after that for about 6 months.
All right. So you're publishing some videos as well over there on your website?
No, there were
Okay.
no videos back then.
All right.
I mean,
All
there
right.
there wasn't even a YouTube back then. The next big advance was we offered a message board where you could post your question and then other people could answer it. That was in the middle of 1999.
All right. All right. All right. Nice. Nice. So that's an amazing story. And considering that you have mastered Excel over the last 25 years, can you take us through the evolution of Excel, of what it was then and what it is now? Functions, tools, applications, advancements, anything.
Sure. Yeah. So in 1998, when I launched Mr. Excel, there were only 255 columns in Excel,
Yes.
65,536 rows, and about 255 calculation functions.
Yes.
So consider today we now have just 520 calculation functions, including the ones they just released to beta.
Okay.
1 million rows, 1048,576, and 16,384 columns. So it's much larger, and we've added power. They've added Power Query.
All right.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Right. And so this is what you're talking about is Excel 2021 we're talking about right now.
Well,
520.
Microsoft 365 is very
365.
common
Okay.
here.
All right. All right.
That's what we're, a
All
lot of
right.
companies are on the Microsoft 365 plan.
Right. 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 Thank you. Yeah. So, although we have seen that there are many other advanced tools which are available, but we have also seen companies are still using Microsoft Excel for performing analysis and generating visualizations. Can you throw some light on this?
It's so hard to get Python installed. I understand Python's better,
Yeah.
but it requires 16 steps through an advanced command line, and that just puts people off. You install Excel, and it's open. You're ready to go. And Microsoft right now is experimenting with Python and Excel. That eliminates all of those hassles of getting Python installed on your machine and everything. So I don't know, until Python becomes easier to install, until it becomes, it's going to be a tough fight for Python and R and those tools.
It might be because of the fact because I am also using and doing lots of stuff on Microsoft Excel. Can it be because of the interface and because on Python you need to write some bit code or something, and that can be a reason which can be a deterrent?
Sure,
You think?
that there's the learning curve with the code, but
Yes.
I don't have a big problem with the code. I was able to switch over to Python code without a problem. It was just the hurdle of getting the thing installed and running it in a console.
Yes. But most of these companies already have this Microsoft package, so Excel comes with them with that by default, I guess.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Right.
So another question that I had for you is, so there are quite a few add-ins which are available in Microsoft Excel. So can you throw some light on what are the important add-ins and what students or people working in companies should be working on, and what was the rationale behind adding them in Microsoft Excel?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different add-ins out there, and to be honest, I don't use a lot of them.
Okay.
One that I saw maybe 2 years ago out of a company in Egypt was DOSE, DOSE for Excel, and it was very inexpensive.
Okay.
Added 50 functions to Excel that really should be much easier in Excel. I was impressed with that. I think I put 16 or 20 videos up of just things that I had covered on my YouTube channel in the past that would take several minutes to do, and now we're just a couple of clicks. So
Yes.
I appreciated that one because it was really inexpensive. Some of the most successful add-ins are for people that are using Oracle. There's a company called More for Apps that has an add-in, but it's a very expensive add-in. You have to, it's not something that one person would ever use. The whole company would have to commit to it.
Right. I think there's something called as data analysis tool pack as well, and Excel solvers. There are a couple of add-ins we are using right now for our
Okay, so data analysis tool pack, right, was very critical before 2007 because it provided 89 functions in Excel that were important and you needed those functions. But then in Excel 2007, those functions got added to the core Excel, so you don't need the analysis tool pack for those anymore. There's, I think, 19 statistical analysis tools still in the analysis tool pack. But the company that writes Solver, that's Frontline Systems, has released a free version of those functions called XL Miner. The letter X, the letter L, Miner, MINER. And it's better than the analysis toolpack was.
All right. Is that, but I've not heard of that. Sorry, that's an interesting news for me also. Right.
Yeah. If you like the functions in the analysis toolpack, these are modern and they work in Excel Online as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's say there's somebody who is novice and has no programming background, but wants to master creating macros in Microsoft Excel. So what should that individual do, and how should he or she start? What's your take on that?
All right, here this is a biased answer, but this is the answer. So at MrExcel.com, there is a message board, or the message board, and there's over 1 million questions that have been asked. About a third of those are macro questions.
Hmm.
So, turn on the macro recorder and record something.
Hmm.
Take that code, copy the code, and paste it to my website and say, hey, I'm completely new to macros. Here's my recorded code. Here's what it does. Here's what I want it to do. Can you help me? And people will be very happy to help you. While you're
Yes.
there, you should read, just every day, read 5 other topics that have been posted, and you'll see what people are trying to do and how the experts solve it. I call that like sitting on the top of a mountain where people come to a guru, and just watching them ask questions gives you ideas of, oh, I never thought about doing that
Yes. Yes.
in
Yes.
Excel.
I think we just need to know what we need to do in macros, then Google will give us the results. So it is as simple
Sure.
as that. That is what I believe in because that is how I've done most of my macro coding.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah. So, but do you think otherwise? Do you think the programming background as such is vital for somebody who wants to learn and master Microsoft Excel or wants to have a career in analytics?
That I That's a really, really interesting question, and I'm not sure on that. I did have a programming background before I came to spreadsheets,
Okay.
but know I don't know how much that programming background actually helps in thinking about formulas like VLOOKUP and
Hmm.
filter and things like that. It
Hmm.
probably helps, but there's a lot of people that use Excel in a lot of different ways, and depending on what
Yes.
you're doing in Excel, it's probably very possible to not have a programming background. Well, given that there's 750 million people using Excel, clearly they don't all have a programming background. So
Right, right. Because there are people who struggle with Microsoft Excel if they don't have that kind of a background, because they don't have that logical bent of mind to actually work on Excel. So sometimes I do believe that it is important, but other times I think if you are ready to put in that kind of an effort, I think we should be able to learn and master Excel as well. Right.
yes, right.
Right. So my next question for you is, so I think we are right now living in the era of chat, GPT and AI. So do you think Microsoft Excel would still be relevant 10 years down the line?
I think they will. I mean, Bill Gates says that you'll just ask your AI agent to do these things for you, but I don't see that happening. I do see, you can go to ChatGPT and ask for help with a formula
Hmm.
or help with some VBA code.
Hmm.
Uh, I I don't see that it will ever get so good that it just does the analysis for you. But who knows? I could be wrong.
Right. Because nowadays there are many workshops which are coming up which says that we can master Excel with the help of AI and ChatGPT. So they're integrating both of them. So, but I still believe that Microsoft Excel should be somewhere there, even 10 years down the line. That should not go away. That is what I
Correct.
believe.
That's what I think.
Yeah. So again, my next question is with regards to the relevance of learning Microsoft Excel for someone who is looking to build a career in today's time, especially in the domain of analytics. So do you think Excel is important, or do you
Oh,
think we have other tools which are important?
no, I think it's very important. And here's why it's important. I understand that
Uh,
colleges right now are teaching analytics, but the
yes,
people who are going to hire those college students don't
yes,
use analytics. The
yes.
I just last week I did a webinar for a company. They
Okay.
had 15 people they had just hired from college. None of them had learned Excel in college. They had all learned Python or R. And
Uh,
the manager who hired me said, "This is useless. We're not using analytics here." They
right.
come to me with analytics on their resume, and it means nothing. We're
Okay.
all using Excel. We need Excel training. So she hired me to bring them up to speed on Excel.
All right, all right. That's nice. That's very nice, right? So, but do you think somebody can get a job on the basis of Excel alone? Is that possible,
Yes,
or do you think they need
absolutely.
these extra skills also?
No, I think Excel alone will get you into 99% of the jobs.
Right, because quite a few of the works that has been done, that has been happening in different companies are still they're still working on Microsoft Excel. So I think it is
Yeah,
not going to go away right now, right? Yeah,
right.
yeah. So, since you have been working in Excel, so what would you recommend as certifications for people who wants to have a career in analytics or Excel? So, are there any specific certifications one should look forward to?
The Microsoft certifications,
Hmm.
in my opinion, are useless. They don't
Okay.
measure anything that anyone actually uses.
Okay.
The best certification is from a company in California
Okay.
called X, the letter XAT. It's the Excel aptitude test.
Okay.
Uh, it's a really good test that measures the important things. You'll get a
Uh-huh.
score, but you'll also get a list of the things that you need to work on.
Okay.
So I prefer that one over the Microsoft certifications. I've taken those. I've taken the Microsoft certification test, and they're not
Mhm.
measuring what is actually used in the real world. They're just written horribly. And
Okay.
unfortunately, I had a chance to review one and said to them, these questions aren't relevant, and they went ahead with it anyway. So
So have you taken up some of these certifications yourself,
I
Bill?
have, yeah, I have because as a trainer,
Uh-huh.
people are like, oh, we'd like you to say, to say that you're certified. So yeah, I showed up, I took the test. I didn't study for the test. I just showed up, took the test.
Okay.
And for me, it was easy. I could pass the advanced test. But
Uh,
just seeing those questions, like, well, none of this is relevant to what anyone would use in the real world.
you took the Microsoft one, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Thanks. So then I think all of us know a lot about, and we have been hearing a lot about Power BI. So what's your take on Power BI and what it is, what's the role it's going to play over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Yeah, it's great. I know just enough to be dangerous about Power BI, but I do know that I publish books. I
Uh,
publish Excel books and Power Query books and Power BI books, and the Power BI books right now are outselling the Excel books. So a lot of people were trying to come to grips with Power BI and understand how to use DAX and data modeling and all
right.
of that. So from my point of view, it seems to definitely be growing popularity.
Okay.
I don't have, it's a small company here. We don't publish any Power BI stuff. So I know it. I know how to build reports, but the companies are embracing it. They seem to be taking off. So that's good.
Right, right, right. Thanks. So then I actually posted this information about this interview to a few of my audiences. So I've
Mhm.
received a few questions from them, few interesting questions I've just compiled. So I'll just put them in front of you one by one. So
Sure.
my first question is from Abhinav Sharma. So he is asking, what are the AI tools that can be used in Excel that are helpful in the current scenario of Excel?
Okay, so here's what we have. The first thing we have is on the far right-hand side of the Home tab, this amazing tool that has changed its name 5 times.
Uh-huh.
Currently, in my version of Excel, it's called Analyze Data, but before that, it was called Ideas. Before that, it was
Uh-huh.
called Insights.
Okay.
Uh, you select up to 200,000 cells, press that button,
Hmm.
and it will go out and find interesting things about the data.
Hmm.
Usually you get 5 initially and then click more and you'll get 36. But then at the top, you can ask questions.
Okay.
That's been in Excel for 3 years.
Hmm.
Some of it came from Power BI. The ask a question about your data came from Power BI.
Okay.
But it's very impressive. And when they started talking about Copilot,
Hmm.
which is the new artificial intelligence drive, I said to the Excel team, I said, you already have it. It's already there.
Yes.
And then there's a beautiful add-in written by Microsoft called
Hmm.
Excel Labs.
Okay.
And in Excel Labs, there's currently 3 features in it, but one of them is a new formula called
Hmm.
labs.generative AI.
Okay.
And that allows you to send requests to the company behind ChatGPT
Okay.
very rapidly using a formula. So
Hmm.
just the other day, I ran over 1,200 queries through ChatGPT.
All
I
right.
double clicked to copy the formula down. I went and had breakfast, and an hour later, all 1,200 queries were done with long 5-paragraph answers each.
All right.
And
All that's amazing. That's amazing. Really amazing.
right, yeah. So that's on your Insert tab. Go to the add-ins, and
Uh-huh.
the add-in store, and search for Excel Labs.
Okay.
The first 30 days of it are free. After that, you need an account with OpenAI. But it's amazing
Hmm.
that each call is costing like less than a tenth of a cent. It's very inexpensive.
All right. That's really nice. So I was not aware of all these tools which are available right now. That's nice. All right. So another question from the same guy is so is learning Excel VBA still relevant after the introduction of AI tools like ChatGPT or Google Bard?
Yeah, I think it's Power Query that put an end to VBA. I used to write a lot of VBA, but I don't have to do that anymore with the get and transform tools on the data tab. Those
Okay.
have replaced most of my macros.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Nice. So my next question is from another guy, that is Avnish. So he's asking that, is learning about Excel going to become obsolete if enough automation has already been made in the future?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I right now,
Uh,
I would bet on learning Excel. But yeah, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? So
right. So it can be anything, right? Future is still very, you can say, uncertain. So
right.
it can be, it might be possible that it might get obsolete. Might be the case that we still might be able to continue with Excel as well, right? So
So
yeah,
let me give you this example, right?
yeah, yeah.
Especially for those people who are working in accounting and finance. The
Uh-huh.
question you have to ask yourself
Uh,
is, if you think about your manager and then
yeah.
that manager's manager, so
Mm.
two levels up from you,
Right.
is that person going to be happy if you give them a report where 90% of the answers are right? Is that good enough for your
Huh.
company? Can you report
Right.
financials where 90% of the numbers are right? And if they are, then OpenAI is great for you, because OpenAI is going to make up stuff 10% of the time. So if you're just okay with
Uh,
10% of your answers being wrong, then
uh,
by all means, trust
uh,
OpenAI. But if you
uh,
don't, then you actually need an accountant or a finance person to make sure that the numbers are 100% right.
right.
You know, in my the accounting department I used to work in, yeah, 10% wrong, you wouldn't
Uh,
be there very long. And
mm.
that's where OpenAI is right now.
Yes, exactly. So that's an interesting question that one should be asking ourselves once when we are answering this question, right? That's good. Yeah. So also a common question about how is ChatGPT going to affect Excel in about 5 to 7 years from now?
How's data analytics going to affect Excel? Was that the question? I'm sorry.
How is ChatGPT going to affect
Oh,
Excel in about 5 to 7 years from
yeah. Well, I mean, Microsoft is heavily invested in ChatGPT. This experiment that Excel Labs is running, where
now?
ChatGPT is part of Excel, you know, I think I think ChatGPT or whatever, you know, if Microsoft builds their own team
Uh,
of AI, it could really, it could change like the ability. You wouldn't have to create a pivot table anymore. You could just say, "Hey, tell me the top 5 customers, or tell me this, or tell me that," and it would build the pivot table for you.
yes.
So you know
Yes.
that'll make it easier, because
Uh,
you know think about all the people using Excel. There's
uh,
statistics that 40% of those people have used pivot tables and 60% have not. Right? That's a
yes.
lot of people. You know, 450 million people that use Excel but have never used a pivot table. Well, now if they can just write a sentence and ask a question and get a pivot table, that all of a sudden makes them better at Excel, doesn't it?
Right. Right. So another question that Harshita has asked is, so can you delve into your experience with Excel's Power Query and Power Pivot functionalities and how
I
you have
love,
leveraged them to
I
robust data
love,
analysis and modeling? Yeah.
yeah, I love Power Query. Power Query is such an amazing tool. And when it
Uh,
first came out, I downloaded it the first month and I wasn't impressed. I downloaded it the second month and I stopped downloading it after that.
okay.
But it is just amazing that it lets you clean data faster the first month and then instantaneously in months 2 through 400. So I'm a big fan of Power Query. I embraced Power Pivot when it first came out, but in real life, I'm not using Power Pivot like
Mm.
I'm using Power Query. To me, Power Query is the most important tool. Everyone should have good knowledge, and you can get a great knowledge of Power Query in 2 hours. You know, there's
Yes.
resources
Yes.
out there.
There are lots of resources available right now, whether you talk about YouTube, whether you talk about these websites, and also there's lots of courses also which are available on different platforms which teach us about Power Query as well. Yeah.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. So, if you can just share an example where you implemented advanced conditional formatting techniques in Excel to enhance data visualization and to make reports more intuitive.
Yeah, so here's the cool thing.
Huh,
On the home tab under conditional formatting, we have
yes,
those three things: icon sets, data bars, and
huh,
color scales. But
right.
although they're easy to create, the icon sets, it uses some rules behind the scenes that aren't very effective. Like one outlier can really just skew the whole thing. So for me, I always want to go in and manage those rules for
Uh-huh,
the icon sets and set the upper and lower limits. I also
uh-huh,
change the icons. Maybe I want to show icons for certain items. And
uh-huh,
then I got a tip from a guy on the Excel team 15 years ago about a secret way
uh-huh,
in Excel to have two different conditional formatting applied to the same range
Uh-huh.
using VBA, right? One line of VBA that changes a property that's not available in the user interface.
All
Tell you
right,
what,
all right.
let me send you a link to that video. Maybe you can link to it.
Right, definitely. That will be helpful. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so you can create interesting data visualizations, that aren't just the 1/3 green, 1/3 yellow, 1/3 red. You can
Right,
actually call things out.
right,
The other
right.
thing I love to do, sorry, the other thing I love to do is to create my conditional formatting icons off to the right, outside of the print range.
Okay.
And then I copy them and use under the paste menu, the very last item under paste special is create a linked picture. And I'll take those icons and
Yes.
I'll put them right next to the numbers. So
Right,
you have the number and the icon in the same,
right,
uh,
right.
in the, yeah, or something like that. Just some cool tricks there. I'll send you that link too. I have a link on that.
Definitely, definitely. Please send it to us. Right.
Yeah.
That will be really, really helpful. Yeah. So again, the question from Harshita itself. So can you elaborate on your proficiency in Excel macros and automation and provide an instance where you significantly streamlined a task or a process through VBA scripting?
Yeah, absolutely. I had my first day job. I was working in an operations department, and I had moved up several levels. So I'm beyond analyst, beyond manager. I'm above that. But there was a vice president down the hall who
Okay.
spent her entire week working on one report. Right, every week she would spend the entire week on this report, and I didn't do it instantaneously, but I slowly just started taking the most painful parts of that job and
Okay.
making macros. And after a few months, just
Uh-huh.
part-time, just few hours a week, I had taken that report and completely automated it. Right. So here's a person making a lot of money,
Mhm.
whose job was to create a report that I was able to replace with a button click.
Okay.
So that's a great story right there. I feel bad for her. They actually they let her go.
All
And I'm
right.
sure she's not happy with me, right? But like if your job can be replaced by a button click, yeah, that's a bad sign.
Yes. That's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. So this was which you talking about which year when you did this?
Let's think about that. That must have been somewhere in the mid to late 90s, 95, 96, 97, somewhere in there.
95, 96. Before you started with Mr. Excel, before that.
Yes, right, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. That's cool. That's cool. That's nice. All right. So these were a few questions from the audience,
Good.
and then we have a small little rapid fire round for you. So we'll have quick questions, and you have to be having quick responses to them. One word answers, or might be a statement or something. That is entirely your call. So my first question is: VLOOKUP or index, a more efficient function?
XLOOKUP. XLOOKUP is the best of both worlds. I understand index
Okay.
is better than
Uh,
VLOOKUP. More
uh,
people know VLOOKUP. So let's use
uh.
XLOOKUP, which brings them all together.
All right. Cool. Nice. Scenario manager or conditional formatting, the tool you love more.
Conditional formatting, hands down.
All right. All right. Any reasons for that?
Scenario manager is terrible. To create 96 scenarios in scenario manager will take me half a day. Conditional formatting I can have done in 2 minutes.
Right, right, right. All right. Next is Excel solver or macros, are more relevant in today's times.
Macros for me,
Macros.
for the type of reporting that I'm doing, is definitely macros. Solver is cool,
Uh,
but macros for me.
macros. All right. So a function for calculating monthly EMIs.
Oh, to help me out with that. We don't have the term EMI. What does that mean?
I think we had a function called PMT, if I'm not wrong. PMT is for calculating monthly payments given your.
Ah,
I think that is the
okay, okay.
function that is
All right,
there.
great. You want to ask that one again? And I'll.
Right. Actually, we have been using some of these functions for our because I teach MBA students at my college. So there we have a course on Excel modeling with Power BI. So we teach Excel modeling in the first half and Power BI in the second half. There we use some of these functions.
Oh, cool. Okay, great.
Yeah. So that is how I know about a few of them. Right.
Yeah.
So next question: a function for getting month names from dates.
I use the text function with the MMMM
Right.
format.
Right. A function which is there in Excel 2021 but not present in 2019.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. The filter function, the sort function, sort by, the new wrap rows, the new image function.
Okay. So that wasn't there in 2019, right? That's there in 21.
No, it debuted just after Excel 2019 came out. All of those.
Okay, all right, cool, thanks. Next question. A function in Excel 2016 but not present in 2007.
Yeah, so that would be the plural version of sum ifs.
Okay, all right, all right, all right, nice. Number of functions in Excel 21.
So I don't buy 2021 because it's instantly out of date. The day you buy it, it already doesn't have the latest and greatest.
All right, all right, all right. And number of rows in an Excel sheet of an Excel 2003 workbook. I think you've already answered that.
65,536.
65,536. Number of additional functions in 2007 as compared to Excel 2003.
Yeah, they added the analysis tool pack, which got us 89 functions. And then there were probably 5 other functions that got added in. So let's go with 94. And I'm going to say I'm within 5.
You're good with your statistics, huh, Will?
Yeah, right. Because I wrote it, I have to write a book
Uh,
about Excel 2003 and a book about Excel 2007. So
okay.
yeah.
All right. So how many books have you written, Will?
67 books.
67 books. And most of all of them on Excel or on other tools and platforms
There,
also?
I wrote one book on Microsoft OneNote when it first
Okay.
came out. I had the first book out on OneNote, but the other 66 books are all about Excel or Excel VBA.
All right. All right. Nice. Nice. So last question, a few words about my YouTube channel.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, your YouTube channel or my YouTube channel?
You can have a word for your channel as well as for our channel.
That's great.
Both of them. I think that would be useful for
I
both
got
of
you.
us. Right.
Okay, so the thing I love about the YouTube channel is, for me, is every time I learn something new, I instantly go out and create a video on YouTube about that new thing. The reason I'm doing that is to share knowledge, definitely, but it's also great when I'm updating the next book. I just go look at the last year's worth of YouTube videos to see what needs to be added to the book. So it's just a great way for people to stay current with what's going on.
Right. Thanks. So with that, we will end this exhilarating interview. Thank you so much for your time and for taking out the time from your schedule. Truly appreciate that. It was an absolute pleasure interacting with you. Thank you so much for the interaction. And if you have
Thanks,
any
Ankit.
questions for me, let me know.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks
Right?
for your time.
Yeah, thanks. And do send that link that you were talking about. Thank you so much.
I will. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for time.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
That was a mesmerizing interview by our very own Mr. Excel Bill Jelen, where he not only talked about Power Queries, pivot tables, conditional formatting, and Excel functions, but also the future of Microsoft Excel in the presence of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. So if you enjoyed watching this video, please do not forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day ahead. Thank you.